I'm at Kenrokuen. This is considered to be one of the top 3 gardens in all of Japan. It is fantastic, like really pretty. In ranking, I believe this is supposed to be ranked number 1, whereas like Okayama is number 3, and I could totally tell why. This place is like really drop dead gorgeous, but let's begin the day at the beginning. We woke up at about 8 o'clock this morning, went down to get breakfast. Breakfast was just your basic Japanese buffet style breakfast, so nothing fancy but nothing bad either. It was all good. We then walked over here to the park. It's about 10:30 now, so we've been walking the park for a little while. The entrance was easy. Each ticket's 320 yen. They do have a special where you could get a 500 yen ticket, which then allows you to go to one of the art museums that I wasn't really interested in. So we just saved the extra yen and came here instead. As we finish up here, we will be going to the castle next. It's just right next to it. This park isn't massive, but it isn't small either, and it's very well maintained. As I was saying before, I could totally understand why it's considered the prettiest. It has Japan's oldest water fountain apparently, which was kind of neat. Everyone was taking photos of it. And then walking around, it has a statue of, I think it was one of the supporters of the Satsuma rebellion, and there were a lot of people interested in that area and checking out the statue, so that's pretty cool, part of their history. Then going around and looking at just the different areas of the park. Each level of the park has something kind of different to show. They have areas or zones of like what the trees are. So we were like in a plum area for a little bit. I was hoping that the plum blossoms would be coming in, but it's already come and gone. Everything was green. I mean, everything now is green. Everything here is lush and gorgeous, and they're like, really, there's a lot of employees going around and just trying to keep the park clean, like sweeping all the leaves and that type of thing, not trash or anything. Luckily, people are being respectful about that. They have tons and tons of little tea shops and stuff here. It's pretty crazy. For the most part, it looks like everything is cash-based, so that is something to take note. And there are tons of tourists here, both foreign and Japanese. It's the beginning of Golden Week, and so we are bound to see a ton of tourists head on out and coming around. Currently, we ran into quite a few Europeans, and I hear a lot of Cantonese and hear a lot of Vietnamese going around. And then, of course, it's interesting, there are a ton of Japanese students here of all ages, like from elementary, I want to say, to either middle or high school. I'm leaning more towards middle school, but that being said, the park's been fantastic. Oh, and the road up to the park was fantastic. You have to actually, the park's inside of part of the castle, so you have to come through like castle gates in order to walk to the park. It's absolutely fantastic. Like the castle is impressive. It's just so massive and like well maintained. It's kind of different than what I remember. I thought when I saw the videos of people coming here that the castle actually looks pretty run down and beaten up, but maybe I'm remembering it wrong. I thought it was castle ruins. I don't know. I'll have to go back and try to recheck some of those old Japanese videos that I was watching, or like travel TV shows. Anyhow, we'll check out, see what else is going on here before moving on to the castle, and I will check back in a second.
And hello, this is Future Charlie breaking in real quick. Wouldn't be a regular video if I didn't do this every now and then, right? So, I missed the fact that when we're at Korakuen, or Kenrokuen, that once we exited the park, there's actually a omotesando, like a main street, that's right in front of the park. And along this main street are a bunch of tea shops. Now, this area being similar to Kyoto in that sense, is actually famous for these tea shops. And one of the things that they're most famous for is their ice cream that's covered in gold. And I think this is a recent thing because I've not seen it on any of the other channels or shows that I've watched of the area, but platinum now as well. So there is ice cream that you could buy. It's like $8-9, so it's not inexpensive, but it is covered with either platinum, gold, or a mixture of the two. And we actually went, and it's something that you're supposed to do when you're there. So we went and tried the platinum gold combo ice cream. It was cool because you get gold and platinum all over like your lips and teeth. But other than that, the ice cream was good. It just wasn't anything particularly special other than the fact that it is that type of ice cream. But I forgot to mention it anywhere, so I just wanted to cut in and say that right after we left the park or the garden, we went down this famous street and bought some ice cream. And yeah, it was good. Anyhow, back to the video.
Welcome back. I am at the castle here, the castle ruins. We finished up the park. The last thing we did was the Rainbow Bridge. That was nuts. There was a huge line for that. Wow, it's really dark in here. It's what, 11? It's noon. It just turned noon. It was really pretty. The lantern there was amazing. And we finished just kind of walking around, really. It's like a really, really pretty garden. And I understand how, like, because the master of this castle was so rich, that the garden was so fantastic. There are a lot of mosquitoes here. I don't know if you can see them in the camera or not. They're swarming my face. The bells are going off to mark that it is officially noon. But yeah, we're walking through the castle ruins, and it's a total different experience. Most of it's unrepaired. They did repair parts of it. Everything we saw, that's why it looks so fantastic, was part of the repair efforts. Now we're just walking through the park and going through and seeing remains of a turret or the reconstruction of a castle wall. And what's really interesting is you could tell where they reconstructed it or renovated it versus where it was originally. Because originally there was you could see the stones are not like perfect and flat, and then when they repaired it, the stones are like perfectly legoed together or Tetris together and super flat, and it stands out. It definitely does. The castle so far has definitely been impressive. We went up into one of the turret gates, which is massive. Like, I could only imagine what this looked like before the big fire. I think it was 1631 is what it was written. It must have been nuts. And right now I'm walking through a park inside of the castle. So all this, like, whole area is part of the castle still. This wasn't even the garden. It had a garden on top of that. And so it's just so nuts to see. And as you could like kind of turn off and go zigzags, there are just other ruins for you to see. And so, oh, looks like it loops through. I'm gonna go this way instead. I guess I should be looking at the map of the place, because you could really see from the top down the way that everything loops in and connects to each other. It's like a spider web, so you won't miss much. But it is a very nice walk. It's very chilled in here, so it's very cool. The heat's kind of lightening up, but I also think that it's because it might rain in a couple hours here. So maybe that's the storm coming in, at least according to the weatherman, right? But anyhow, the views here are magnificent. Wow, the view in front of me is magnificent. You can see the mountains that we came from yesterday, the snowy tops and the snowy peaks, I think is the better way to say it. It's really pretty. But anyhow, we'll check back in a moment here. Alright, welcome back. We are walking to lunch. We left the castle, went to another free garden that was right next to the castle. That was pretty crazy. And then right after the free garden, we went to a free gate that was at the castle. That was actually free because of the Kanazawa Tourism Board or something like special like that. That was pretty cool. That was the second one that we went to, and it was neat to learn how they actually constructed the gate, how there's different pieces of wood in each part for different structural reasons. We also learned that the bridge that we cross in order to get to the Omiya Shrine, which was our next target, was completely made of steel and then covered in wood to keep the aesthetic but make it earthquake proof to a 7-pointer. That was pretty crazy. And then the Omiya Shrine is fantastic. Aside from having the main gate that is a mixture of Chinese, American, and Japanese architecture with the oldest lightning rod in all of Japan, it was cool to go see the main shrine on top of the fact that it had a crazy garden. Again, the gardens here are just amazing. Like, really fantastic. Unbelievable. This tiny little garden in this shrine was like something that I figured I'd have to pay for, but free is free, and I don't want to discredit that. We walked around the garden, snapped a few photos, went and made an offering at the shrine. Now we are going to get lunch at a suggested restaurant that I got from a YouTube video about traveling in Kanazawa. I'm actually wondering if we're about to pass it, because we should be fairly close. Yep, just keep going. There's going to be a stoplight ahead that turns into 5 streets.
Oh, okay.
And on that one, we want to make the left turn and be on the far side. Technically, I think we could just cross here. Yeah, we could cross here. It's a major crossing. We're almost there. I think I see where we have to turn to go to our restaurant. There are a ton of tourists here, both foreign and local. It's pretty crazy to see. And I easily made that. But yeah, we'll check back in once we get a little bit more situated. We'll find out what's next. It's starting to rain. That's going to be an issue. So maybe we chill at a Starbucks or something for a second. But check back in a moment. And welcome back. We are walking in the samurai town. And it's been a while since I last checked in. So our lunch option was fully booked. And we seem to be running into that quite a bit, actually, in this town. Reservations seem to be very necessary to get to some of the good restaurants that I found. We ended up eating at Omicho, the famous market here in Kanazawa. And we ate at Mendoya, I think it was. I think that's what it was. I had soba with tempura. Lynn had udon with tempura. And then it was decent. Wasn't anything special. It wasn't bad though. It was good. And then right afterwards, we went downstairs to the main market and got a skewer of barbecue Ishikawa Wagyu. We then walked around the market a little. Ben got some barbecued seafood, which he said was good, which was nice. And then we just continued. I had to make a choice at that point because it was getting late. And we were closer to the Higashiya, which is the tea area, the famous old tea area here, as well as the old geisha area. And so we walked around there for a bit. It was kind of raining at that point, and we just really needed to kind of check out that area because it's kind of important to Kanazawa. And so I made the decision to go there first before coming here to the samurai area. It's being 5 o'clock now. A lot of the places here close at 5. So we were about an hour behind our schedule. So other than that, we would have made everything had we were able to keep it, but everything else was good. So yeah. We then went over to the Ashigoro house, which is the Foot Soldiers Museum, which is free. Did a quick tour of that. Pretty interesting. Very different from Nomura Samurai's house, which the Foot Soldiers house was tiny in comparison and very beat down. There wasn't actually all that much there. Going to Nomura's house, he had like a tea room upstairs. He had a really decadent garden inside of his house with a 2-level like pond, which was crazy. And I guess also the difference was the Foot Soldier's house was free to get into, and you had to pay $5.50 to get into the popular samurai's house, or the well-paid samurai's house. Did you guys read how many bushels of rice he got? It was 1,600, I think. He was paid 1,600. Yeah, so he got paid quite a bit, and they actually used to pay in rice back in the day, so that was the main form of payment. But walking around that place, it was packed. It could also be that we were the last people in there. I think it was probably a little bit more empty until everyone found out that it was closing, so everybody just went in. But there was a ton of people in there, and we were just all walking around kind of like sardines in a can. Just, it was neat. There was a museum section that had stuff about like writings, poetry, and swords, certain artifacts from the back of the day, and a naginata. And then there was the tea room, which there was it felt like there was 2 parts. There was the actual tea room where you'd actually have the tea, and then it kind of felt like a sitting room was next to it. Both had great views of the garden. And then there was the main living area, which actually had like a little, I don't know what you call it, spirit room, praying room that you could call it. And then just the other living areas and quarters, which were pretty neat. Overall, it was pretty large. The fact that you had to go outside to come back inside to the house, that was pretty crazy. Like, you had to walk on these like stones to like from one room to another. That was pretty cool, in true tea house fashion. But pretty amazing place. Glad we were able to see at least 2 out of the 3 places. We're standing at the 3rd one right now. It's closed. It closed at 5, and so better luck next time. Kanazawa is definitely a place I could come back to. Like, I don't feel that we've seen enough of this, and there's actually a lot more resort area that the Japanese people use that we're not seeing. We're only seeing the touristy areas right now. They actually go to other places, and as of recent, there's been a lot of shows, and a lot of the idols that I watch, they've all been talking about coming here to Kanazawa, which is kind of cool. So it's just learning more things to do, more things to find inside of this area. But all in all, I think really it's just dinner now. Do you guys want to go get dinner, or should we walk down that street that I was just telling you about, Ben? Let's go walk down that. I think that's the Nagamichi or something like that. But yeah, we'll check back in at least one more time. Back in a moment. And welcome back. We are at the hotel, obviously. The last time I checked in, we were going out to dinner from the Nomura residence, or the samurai area of town. Nagamichi is what it's known as. After I checked in, we actually walked around that area just a little bit more. Found this really cool eyewear store that had regular glasses on the bottom floor and sunglasses and a cafe on the top floor. The interesting thing about that general area is all the shop fronts are literally on the other side of a little canal. So in order to get to them, there's multiple bridges that go to each storefront, which is pretty crazy. It's actually like intense to see how beautifully designed that whole area is, and we really took advantage of just walking around in that area. But after shopping at the eyewear store, we were getting a little bit hungry, and so now it was time to go to Uogoshi Sushi, which was a sushi restaurant that was recommended to me by, I think it was the official Kanazawa tourism store. I'll have to go look. There was a it was a YouTube video that suggested it, and I just went ahead and did it. The only problem is, or I'll get to the problem in the moment. So we were walking towards it. It was about a half an hour away, and it was still sprinkling somewhat. So I just figured there's three of us. Let's just call a cab and call it a day. And so we hailed a cab, and it just so happened to be the friendliest cab driver. He was nervous, but super friendly and very talkative. He loves this town, and so we told him where to go. He pulled over to a certain area to where he could put it into his nav. He had no idea where this restaurant was, and he put it into the nav, took us to where his nav took him. It was the wrong spot, so I gave him the address again, and he put it in again, and we were about, I want to say, 2 minutes away from the original spot. He drives us there. It's down this tiny little street in the middle of nowhere. It's like in the middle of a residential area. And on the door, one of the things that I was like kind of fearing happened. It just said, by reservation only. And so he actually got out of the car, and because he read it as he pulled up, he's like, oh no. He goes in and he asks them, hey, is there any way for them to get a table here for 3 people? There's no reservation. The grandmother up there that was working, she was super kind, was like trying to see if she could get us in. Asked Grandpa, who was working the counter. Grandpa straight up was like, no, I don't have enough food. And so, unfortunately, we were not able to go there. And the taxi driver was like, well, do you want me to drive you back to the main market? Because there's tons of sushi restaurants there, and you could go get like some rotating sushi if you like. And we're like, I guess if that's the best we could do, let's go ahead and do it, because Kanazawa Sushi is well known. It's famous. And so he was like driving us towards there, and then he says, that place you were looking at looked kind of expensive, like fancy is the kind of the term he used. And I was like, oh yeah, it's like it was from YouTube. It was suggested. And he's like, well, I know a place if you guys are willing. It's a little bit far out though, but it's a nicer, and it wouldn't be rotating sushi. And I was like, all right, I'll take your suggestion. And so he ended up driving us to quite a bit of a distance out of town. I think we're about a half an hour's walk away from the hotel. So it was one of those things where we got to the restaurant. The restaurant was called Abisu Sushi, and we went in. He actually went in first and asked if there was any way that he could get a table for 3 people, because there was no reservation. And the owner there said yes, and we just walked in. As we were walking in, there was a influential looking Japanese man sitting. Oh, I'm sorry, no. There was a grandmother and her grandchild sitting at the far end of a bar, and then a family from Amsterdam sitting at the other end of the bar, and then the master of the place, the owner, he sat us at a table that was a little bit of a distance from the actual bar. And the place was tiny. There was just another room left over that had like 1 table in it. And so we took the first room that had a table in it. The waitress was kind enough. It's a architect student at university, the local university. And she kind of came over and took our orders. We got some drinks, a highball, a hot sake, and a oolong tea. And then they first served us oden, which was kind of interesting. Never had that at a sushi place. It was actually delicious. And then we ordered the namesake of the restaurant. So it was kind of like omakase, except there was two levels. There was just the restaurant level omakase, and then there was like a expensive omakase. Both of which were cheaper than the previous restaurant that we're at, because I did, when I walked in to try to get a menu there or look at the menu there, I saw the prices. Aside the point, we were able to sit down, get our order in, the oden came, and then the sushi came, and the sushi was delicious. It was 9 pieces each, and then on top of that, they gave us clam miso soup, so miso soup with clams in it, as well as 3 different types of dango. There was kibi dango, the regular 3-colored dango, the green, white, and pink, and then I'm forgetting what the dango with the red bean, crushed red bean is on it, but they gave us that, and some tea. We finished that up, and then the owner came by to thank us and kind of question a few things like, where are you from? Why do you know who we are? And we're just like, oh, we're from America. He's like, oh, I've been to America. My favorite team is the Houston Astros. And like, what? Why? He's like, because about 20 years back, one of their players was Japanese. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And he's been to an Astros game, which was pretty awesome. And then he came by with some, looked like homemade nigori sake, which that's a common practice here. I've noticed at a lot of like homes in Japan, if you're into alcohol, you make your own, which I believe he did. We shared a drink, and that was also delicious. I will admit, I'm still more of a makgeolli fan, even though they're supposed to be the same thing. I just think the Koreans do it just a little bit better. But that aside the point, it was still delicious. That's when we chat with the waitress just a little bit, just to figure out who she was and what her life was all about, and then we paid the bill and went back out to do the long walk home. As we were right before we were starting to walk, I was like, oh, I'd like to go to the Family Mart and grab a drink, which reminds me I have a drink in the fridge here that I need to drink. And we walked over, I was like, oh, that looks like our cab. And as we crossed the street, it just so happens that it was our cab. The guy was like, he got out and he's like, oh, that's crazy. Okay, you guys are still here. And apparently he had a few fares after us, but his last fare brought him back to the restaurant area, so he figured we'd probably be far away from our hotel, so he'd wait there for us, which he did. So we're like, hey, just give us a second, we're gonna go grab some drinks at the Family Mart. And then we hopped into his cab and he took us back here to the hotel. And then we snapped a quick selfie with him. He was, like I said, he was just a real great guy, super friendly, talkative, very helpful. Learned that his favorite ramen was salt-flavored ramen and shiogame, I believe it is. I actually have it saved on my phone, where his favorite ramen here in Ishikawa-ken is, because it's not a normal Kanazawa city ramen, apparently. But there is one of the restaurants that he likes, the chain that he likes, is in the city, which is pretty amazing. So, whenever I get the chance to come back, I'll definitely give it a shot. Tomorrow we're going to Shirakawa-go, so right in the morning after we wake up and eat breakfast, we have to check out and go to the rental car place, hop in a car, and make our way down to Shirakawa-go. That's pretty much it for the day. We came back, I guess after getting back and taking the selfie with the guy, we came upstairs, like kind of relaxed for 5-10 minutes, and then decided that we'd try to go back to the castle in the park to get some more photos. And it was, unfortunately, most of it was closed. The thing that was open was the Omiya Shrine, which it is very unusual for shrines to get locked up, so we were able to walk through. It's actually along a path that a lot of joggers take, apparently. And so we went over there and took a few night shots where I wasn't alone. There was actually a lot of people taking some night shots there, but I'll throw anything that came out up on the screen. And Lynn and Ben, the three of us went. Lynn and Ben actually bounced a little bit earlier because doing night shots with a camera takes a little while. And so they got what they wanted. They came back to the hotel before me to start packing, and I just finished up and came back after them, trying to get any shots. So hopefully something did come out. But overall, an amazing trip to Kanazawa City and Ishikawa Prefecture. And it's definitely a place that I'll come back to. I was telling Lynn earlier, aside from the stuff that we missed, which wasn't much in my opinion, there is a whole section of Kanazawa that we didn't see that I've noticed that like actors and idols and stuff like that, like famous Japanese people go to, and they don't do the touristy things. I mean, they might do the market that we did, Omicho, but other than that, they don't really do all the other places that we went to. They have their own little things that they go to that are strewn about the city, and I think those are kind of cool as well. But it's cool to say that I have gone to Toyama, to Nagano, to Ishikawa, to Miyagi, to Tochigi, and to Chiba this trip. It's been a very, very busy trip, and although it's been only 2 weeks, we've hit up 7 prefectures so far. Tomorrow when we go to Shirakawa-go, we'll be going to Gifu Prefecture, which will be our 8th prefecture this trip to actually go explore something in. So very brief expeditions into each one of these prefectures, but I think I can mark almost all of them off of my need to go tos now, which is pretty crazy to think that these are 8 prefectures that I've not ever been to before. Oh no, I've been to Chiba plenty of times, and I didn't really count Tokyo because we only used Tokyo to pass through. So it was like Chiba to Tokyo to Utsunomiya, or Chiba to Tokyo to Sendai, or Utsunomiya to Tokyo to Chiba. So we are going to Tokyo. It will be tomorrow afternoon after we come back from Shirakawa-go. So we'll see how that goes. Anyhow, it's been a wonderful night, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and close it out here. So good night, and I will see you in the next video.